did what?
I said we're live now.
Okay. Oh well, shit. Let's do the best we can. I couldn't tell you what's going on with it. So if we're live, we're live. Welcome to We Have Something to Say. Um, uh, Once again, this um, welcome to We Have Something to Say. Um, let's shut down all my
I
programs.
hear you doing stuff, but I don't hear your voice at all. Yeah, we gotta
I'm about to shut
apologize.
down.
This is this we're looking real unprofessional right now, and I can't figure out. Not that we're professionals at this anyway, but at least we were doing stuff right before. Now it's ridiculous that we can't get on and having problems getting on. Can't tell when we're on live. We're pushing the live button, and the next thing we know, we live, and we don't even know that we're live. So y'all, we apologize for our unprofessionalism.
Hey,
But
you keep talking and going with the show. I'm gonna figure it out. You
so
go ahead and figure it out. I'm gonna move
it's been
myself
an
and come back
interesting
in.
week this week. It's been an extremely interesting week this week politically in this country. Um, you have let's start with the shutdown. Um, it's the shutdown ended the other day, and the question has been whether or not the Democrats caved in reference to the shutdown because they, after 45 days or something like that, which is a new record for a shutdown, the government shutdown, they decided to go ahead and capitulate and give into, you know, I shouldn't say Republican demands because the people wanted to get back in, wanted the government to open back up because SNAP benefits were not people not being paid, the SNAP benefits, and their people weren't getting their paychecks and all that, and still going to work and things of that nature. So the question is, did the Democrats cave or did they do the right thing? Because the Republicans in the Senate said, okay, the Affordable Care Act, we'll go ahead and schedule a vote on whether or not to rescind those cuts that was in that big ugly ass bill that Trump signed a few months ago. So that is almost, I guess you could say, as Leonard like to say, an existential question. Did they cave? Uh, you have people, millions of people hurting. Those who were furloughed, those who were fired, those who aren't getting their Medicare and Medicaid benefits. Although veterans were getting their benefits, and I'm kind of shocked at that the veterans were getting their VA benefits. Um, but the you know essential workers were still going to work and not getting paid. There were delays in airlines, major delays in all the airlines because the air traffic controllers were working 45 days not getting paid. Well, at least three paychecks and not getting paid. And, even though they make a nice little piece of change, they make some good money as an air traffic controller. But, if you're not getting paid, that doesn't mean your bills are going to stop. That mortgage still payment is still due. Good morning, Stacy. The mortgage payment is still due. That as we say back in the South, that car note is still due. The all utility bills are still due. That cell phone bill is still due. None of that changes, and they don't want to hear, "Oh, I work for the government, so I'm not getting paid." They don't give a damn. The rent's due, all of that. Tuition for your child, if you have a child in college, that money is due. All of that stuff, they don't want to hear that. So, as I said, the question is whether or not Democrats caved or what they did was right. And some people said, that what some of the Democrats who gave in said, okay, we made our point that this is a Republican problem, that Republicans are creating this issue that the rest of us, a lot of Americans are going to suffer from because of this. terms of the affordability of healthcare in this country. And I do agree with them. They did make a point about it. And Trump is being blamed as well as the Republicans are being blamed. That election we had a couple of weeks ago actually showed how much people detest Republicans in this country at this point. And it's because of all of the craziness that they're doing, everything that's happened since. And those were special elections. Those weren't even, in some cases, were special elections. Those weren't even the regular midterm elections, which are coming up next year in November, beginning of next month of November. So those things, those factors are coming in to play of whether or not the Democrats did the right thing. Then you have those Democrats who said, okay, we know how these Republicans in the House and the Senate, how they act. They say they're going to do something. They say they're going to, they promise that they're going to have a discussion or a debate or a vote up for whatever, up for the Affordable Care Act. They say they're going to do it. But guess what? In the end, they're not going to do it. We can't trust them because they've proven to be untrustworthy over the last, however many years. So the question remains again, did they do the right thing? They got nothing out of it except for opening up the government and people getting the food, the money, and the things that they need, all of that. They did get that. But does a short-term gain end up being a long-term gain or a long-term loss? That those are questions that that's probably not going to be answered as quickly as we'd like, because and also too, even if you don't have used the Affordable Care Act, the get subsidies for the Affordable Care Act from the government, or as they like to call it, Obamacare, if you give subsidies for that, your health care is still going to go up. You have heard estimates that they may go up. Someone said, a lady said she got an estimate from her insurance company, and where she was paying $4,000 a month. Now she's going to be paying $400 a month for insurance, health insurance. Now she's going to be paying $2,000 a month. That's a lot. That's a huge increase. That's a 500% increase in her premiums a month. Now, unless you got it like that, $2,000 a month is a lot to pay for insurance. That's a lot to pay for healthcare. And let's be real, healthcare is really just in case shit. That's all it is. That's all it is. You have health insurance just in case something happens. Hopefully it doesn't, unless you have, do regular visits because you have a chronic illness or something like that. You have to do regular visits to the doctor or something like that. But really and truly, insurance is really and truly just in case shit. Why'd you change this screen, man? You knocked me out. Gonna put yourself in. Anyway, so and you said, now Stacy, you said yours went up 75%. That's a lot. That is a lot. So the question is, again, short-term gain or short-term gain, long-term gain, or long-term loss. That's where we're at right now. So we need to figure those things out. And there's only one way we're going to figure it out. That's if they go up to have a vote. All of this, it's the pain that people are feeling. It's legitimate. I can say that. I'm not feeling it because I have an employer and my health care hasn't gone up. And also, too, as that was a point I was trying to make, if I'm not mistaken, healthcare period is about to go up. Now, all of this goes back to the greediness of the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical companies, the healthcare companies, but this is what it goes down to. It comes down to uh, we can have in this country if we really truly wanted to. Like someone pointed out the other day, it was Robert Wright. Robert Wright used to be the I think the Treasury Secretary, either Commerce Secretary or Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton. So he comes up, makes videos every once in a while, probably about once a week or something like that, talking about what's going on with the economy. Um, I think he's a college professor now too, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, he has some great analysis on how the economy works. And he said, I think it was the video I saw with him, but he was talking about here it is. We gave Argentina $40 billion. We gave Trump is spending 230, 300 something thousand million dollars to redo the White House. Um, he spent 75 million just since he's been in office on his trips back and forth to Mar-a-Lago, his golfing trips. They spent $2 billion. I think it was $2 billion, something like that. Or I forget. It's an enormous 200 something million, I think it was, for two private jets for the head of the Christy Nome, head of Homeland Security. Why she needs two jets, I have no idea. Then they spent going to spend $1 billion to redo that whole airplane that the Qatari government gave to Trump, to retrofit it so it will have all of the things it needs to be, all the things it needs to have to be up to par to be Air Force One. So you have all of this stuff going on, all of this, and we can't have free healthcare in this country. And one of the things I used to tell people um, is that we have in this country, one of the reasons why we don't have free healthcare is because we have so many people in this country. We have the third largest population in the world in the United States, 300 something million, probably close to 400 million, 360 something like that. So to give everybody in this country free healthcare would be a Herculean task, by my estimate. But I've since come to the realization that we can afford any damn thing we want to in this country. If we're willy nilly giving one country $40 billion to prop up their economy, we can't afford health care in this country for all the people. It's mind boggling to me. And the fact that when people talk about the Affordable Care Act, man, you got to echo in the background. The Leonard, you got this on two different. You look up on two different two different platforms. How do I do this? But yeah, you looked up on two different platforms, man, and it's coming up with an echo. But anyway, if we give all these billions of dollars away, all willy nilly, just out there because Trump, got a wild hair up his ass and decides he wants to do it, then I think we can afford, if not free healthcare, at least affordable healthcare in this country. And I don't mean affordable in relative terms. I really don't mean in relative terms like, okay, it's cheaper than what we're getting now. We can't have totally free healthcare in this country. We should be able to have something close to free. It doesn't make any sense. I understand this is a capitalist society, and pharmaceutical companies and health insurance companies are here to make money, but the ever-growing price of healthcare in this country is ridiculous. And other than student loans, healthcare, well, actually more than student loans, but healthcare is one of the biggest expenses that Americans as a whole carry. Healthcare. So I'm not just like I said, I find it baffling that we can't do that. It's not a matter of whether or not we can afford it. It's a matter of will. And we can do it. The state of Massachusetts did it, which is where Obama actually got the idea, or his people, the Obama administration got the idea from the state of Massachusetts because they were doing it there. And that was a Republican idea. Matter of fact, the idea goes all the way back to the Nixon administration. Nixon was thinking about trying to do that, trying to figure out how to do that. So this goes back to the 70s. Didn't start with Obama. He just implemented it on a nationwide basis. But it was something that was already in place in Massachusetts back in the 90s. Obama even became president. So how that, why all of a sudden it's Republicans are so against it, and let's be real, it has nothing to do with the fact of that Obama. I mean that it's a bad idea. It was Obama's idea or his administration's idea. That's the problem with it. And now here it is. That was the Obamacare, Affordable Care came out like 2008, 2009, 2010, something like that. 15 years later, we still having a debate on this bullshit. We still having a debate about this. Republicans are still trying to repeal this when majority of the people who have it enjoy it. And the whole subsidy thing, that's a drop in the bucket. A drop in the bucket in our economy. I mean, in our budget. A drop in the bucket. It's no money. And when I teach my kids, I was telling them about how Thomas Jefferson, when the United States purchased Louisiana, and it didn't just purchase Louisiana, it basically purchased the entire Midwest from the French, and they paid $15 million. And I was saying, $15 million was a lot of money back then. I said, but by today's money, $15 million is nothing. That's nothing. And they was like, well, if I had $15 million, I said, okay, yeah. As a person, if you had $15 million, that's a lot. But as a country, that budget is, damn near $1 trillion every year. That's no money. That's nothing. The government throws away $15 million on doing stupid projects that don't do anything or help anybody. $15 million is nothing. So the money that we would do, that we spend on healthcare in this country, that the government spends on healthcare, is a drop in the bucket in our budget every year. And another thing I heard, a stat that I heard yesterday, which I thought was quite interesting. I never thought about it like that. People are always complaining. Majority of people, and they always say, well, it's these lazy people who don't want to work. Well, majority of recipients of SNAP are children. They're children. So would you want a child to work? Because they're the recipients of it. They may go through their parents, but it's for the children. Then you got the next group is the elderly and the disabled. Those are the SNAP recipients, people who just don't have money. Then you have the next group, the smallest group out of that, are people who actually work full time, don't make enough money to feed themselves, to have enough food, don't make a livable wage. So they need an extra little money. They said if you make $36 out of your taxes you pay, go toward SNAP benefits. Think about that now. You pay taxes on $60,000 a year. Only $36. That's $30,000. That's $360,000. That's $360. $36 out of your taxes goes to pay for SNAP benefits. And you got people worried, pissed off about paying that. But they said, by contrast, $500 and something goes toward corporate warfare, helping corporations, giving corporations like McDonald's, Walmart, who make billions of dollars in profit a year, giving them tax breaks so the CEOs and shareholders can make more money, but their employees are getting have to get snapped. Think about that. These corporations they're getting more money out of your taxes than each of the individuals are. And we're mad at the individuals. They're not the corporations who don't need the money. Because if the corporations paid their people a living wage, they wouldn't need SNAP benefits. It makes no sense in this country that you have people who work full time who are on welfare. That makes no sense at all, man. None.
Kenneth,
Years ago, when I was in the military,
can you hear me?
there were people in the military getting welfare. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I want to cut it. Yeah, I can hear you. I think that what we need to change our mindset when we say the word corporation. Corporations are run by a particular set of people. It's people who run corporations. The corporation's just been given the rights of individual, but there are people who run those corporations. And the question should be, why are we not pushing back on this certain personality type that thinks this is okay? That they think that their only job is to look after shareholder value. And it's one of the reasons why Costco runs such a great company, because it's not the end all be all. I think, we could get into the weeds here, but the truth of the matter is the administration is run by a certain group of people who have a certain mentality and they have a certain mindset. And this mindset they have has no fear of any retribution or retaliation from all the people in the world and the planet that they're affecting. It's a mindset. Russell Vought has a mindset. Pete Hegseth runs into that mindset because he can have some sense of power that he would never have gotten in the regular world. A bunch of mediocre dudes. We got to start asking ourselves, like Scott Galloway says, why do we put some of these people on a pedestal? What is it about making a lot of money that puts us on a pedestal? These people are not good people. I used to love Larry Ellison. I follow Larry Ellison's story quite a bit. But Larry Ellison is now 87 years old. Why have you turned into such an asshole that you want this type of power, that you damn near you want your legacy to be something that goes beyond the grave of control of the government and control of this type of media empire that you want to pass on to yourself? Huh?
Isn't Larry Ellison black? Isn't Larry Ellison black?
You're talking about Alex Craig from You're thinking about Alex Craig from Palantir. Larry Ellison is a non-practicing Jew from Chicago who had a pretty hard life growing up, and he ended up becoming the richest man. But right now, what he's doing is insidious. Larry Ellison's had a great fucking life, and to be of this insidious nature of what he's doing right now by trying to consolidate media, consolidate TikTok. These guys, it's a personality type that we have put ourselves in a position where you've made them like Thomas Silver said the other day. Thomas Silver was the third candidate for the New York mayorship, and he was on Scott Galloway's podcast.
Curtis Lee.
And Scott Galloway asked him, "Hey, were you,
Curtis Lee.
Yeah, Curtis Silver. How you Silver is how you Sleeper. And he sat there and said how much money they offered him in cash to get out of the race. And the question you got to ask yourself is, why? Y'all got more money than God. Y'all got more money. It can last for generation after generation. It can't be the money. It's not the money. It is not the money. It is a set of people who feel like they're supposed to be the lords of the universe. So we can sit here and talk about all this stuff, and they put everything in place to try to cement that they're going to be on top. There's only 3,000 billionaires on the planet. There's 8 billion people on the planet. What is it about their mindset that they just can't be happy with what they have? They damn sure not looking after the rest of us, because you and I, and most of the people who are watching, we don't begrudge people for being successful. Matter of fact, we're like, man, you know what I do? Made a good living. We don't begrudge them for being successful. I damn sure begrudge them for trying to impose their will on us, though. A visceral reaction. I begrudge that you're going to try to impose your will on us. I begrudge the fact that the Tesla board would even think, from a moral perspective, that it's okay to give him $1 trillion pay package. That is the sister on that board too. Why? He can't. His family can't spend $200 billion. They can give it away. We know that for a fact because we watched Mackenzie Bezos just gave away $350 million last week, and her net worth has gone up. So we're talking about the wrong things. We're talking about and stuff that affects people on the ground. I agree with that, but it affects people on the ground because these assholes at the top are doing what they're doing. How is a person who is now responsible for 444,000 people dying in Africa? How is he even still in the conversation? How is he not walk away thinking there's a consequence to your behavior? That's on us. And Larry and Speaker Johnson and all them it's just a big grift. And those billionaires have figured out, if we just did the numbers, if I'm worth $200 billion or $400 billion, and there's a total number of 435 people who make the rules and the policies in the United States, I can bribe damn near every last one of them and still have $200 billion. Why? Like, you ever ask yourself that question? I mean, serious, as a man to man, why do they want to do that?
They're sadistic. It's a control thing. That mindset is hammered into them that not only do you need to be successful, but you got to control things, control your environment. And your environment is getting bigger and bigger because you have more money. I mean, it's and I'm like you. I don't begrudge rich people for being rich. I really don't. Really and truly, to be quite honest, I don't think about it that much. I get my own thing to think about, own things to worry about. So, what happens to rich people doesn't cross my mind on a daily basis. But the fact that they're obsessed with me, people who look like me, people who are in my socioeconomic status, with my socioeconomic status, that's a problem. And yeah, they do want generational power and control. That's one thing that they want. They want to be in the forefront for generations to generations, that we're going to change the world the way I want it to be changed, the way I see it, the way I think it should be done. We're going to do that for generations. I'm going to leave my stamp on eternity. And that's a sickness. That's a sickness. Because, I don't know if y'all do this. I play the lotto. And every time I think about, I say, okay, if I win, like now it's 965 million dollars. I win at 965. So yeah, I win at 965. I say to myself, what do the money? I probably end up, let's say maybe about $600 million. What am I going to do with the $600 million? And the first thing that comes to my mind, is how much I'm going to give to Tuskegee, my school. A school that I incidentally did not graduate from, but I love that school. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, what am I going to give away? Because if I never become a millionaire, and I live a comfortable life, I'm happy. So if I win $965 million, I got $600 million. that's generational wealth. I'm gonna give away a lot of it. If I got $15 million out of the 900, or as you know, Don says 400 million. I got $400 million. I got $15 million. That $15 million is good. I'm good. I'm living good for the rest of my life. Now, no matter how long I live, another 50, 60, 100 years, $15 million, I'm good. I don't make $1 million a year now. So if I got $15 million, play it, I'm good. I'm still going to do what I want to do. I'm still going to have a good life. So the rest of the money, I'm giving it away. Take care of the family, all of that. But the rest of it, I don't need. But these people don't have that mentality. They don't have that mentality. I maybe it was how I was raised. Yeah, maybe it's how I was raised or something like that. But I'm not raised to think that I want to control the world. That I influence to control the world, control the narrative, to change the world to the way I want it to be. Even though, hey, I think the way I see the world, the way I think the world should be, I think that's perfect, to be quite honest. But I'm not going to do that to hurt people. If you're a billionaire, you don't need to hurt anybody to be a billionaire. You're already a billionaire. If you're a millionaire, you don't need to hurt anybody to do that. Maintain your wealth. So why are you doing it? Why are you doing things that you know will hurt other folk when it doesn't affect your bottom line one way or the other? Your life's not affected. And to be quite honest, to be real honest, you might piss off the wrong person and they might take you out. Hence, old boy who killed the CEO from United Healthcare. Don't think because you're some millionaire or billionaire that can't nobody do nothing to you. Everybody can get got. So what are you doing it for? What's your point? What is your point? What exactly are you doing it for? So I agree with you, Leonard. They have a sadistic mentality that is that's to the detriment of the rest of us. And we all know, you know, in Judeo Christian belief, and even probably in all religious beliefs, that basically the whole thing, you reap what you sow type thing, that if you're an evil person, you may not get it here, but you're going to get it at some point in the afterlife, whatever the afterlife is, whatever you consider that to be. But you may get it here. You may get it here. And some of them, you know, I ain't supposed to say this, but I hope they do. And there's a whole lot of people, I hope they go to prison, not federal prison, state prison. Whole bunch of them, I hope they go to state prison.
I don't think anybody, no one has the right. I don't care what they think. I can be a conspiracy type person because I just look at it what it is. I look at, you know, I watch social media now. I watch people who speak out against, and all of them are coming back on, hey, I'm getting shadow banned, you know, and it can't be just they know the algorithm. You should not feel comfortable in a country where you decide that you're going to make people feel the pain because you think you can go behind your walls in your mansion. You can't. And here's the kicker. You're not going to want to stay behind that walls anyway. Your kids aren't going to want to stay behind the walls. You just should stop being assholes. It comes down to some basic stuff. This is what I hate about the Democrats sometimes. Ask basic questions that people can relate to when you have these people up. Why are you being such an asshole? Like, you're a billionaire. What do you think you get out of this? Tell us how this helps the world body, what you're doing. Elon Musk, how does it help the world body for you to be worth $600 billion headed to $1 trillion with 13 kids by 9 people? And it seems like you're a ketamine addict. What are you so mad about? You got a great life. No one's asking you to intervene in their life. But nobody should have the right to hoard that wealth while all these other people rely on a capitalist society. They have to have money to survive in order to make. That is a mentality. Everybody he has on his administration has the same mentality. Lutnick has that mentality. Bassett has that mentality. Russell Vought has a white supremacy mentality because he just thinks everything about skin color. And he's a mediocre dude that just knows how the OMB works because he's had experience. But as Scott Galloway says, like I said, I like Scott Galloway, and I like that he's having a moral equivalence. Like, y'all don't know who Scott Galloway is. He's a rich guy who says, "Hey, look, man, I don't think anybody should be worth more than $50 million. Your lifestyle between 50 million and $1 billion is really, really not that big of a difference." He says it's just not that big. It's not that much more that you can do with $1 billion that you can't do with 50 million. And no one, like I said, no one begrudges them for being successful. But I have every right to begrudge Jeff Bezos for saying, excuse me, I'm going to lay off 30,000 people for AI because I need a bigger profit for Amazon. Why? Like, nobody brings him in and says, why? In front of the American public. Why? Why do you need that? Like, explain it to us. You can, with $1 billion, you could buy $300 million. Yeah, I still have $700 million left. But once you get to $1 billion and you earn 5% on the return, you see you at $50 million per year just in your return. It means it's just 5%. At 3% is $30 million. It's hard to spend $30 million in a year unless you just buy up assets. So the question comes back down to, hey, we don't begrudge all of that, but why would you want more? Why would you want so much that you can watch what's happening in Sudan because you know people are getting backing from rich people in the UAE, and you can watch this suffering? What is it about you that you could take USA aid and you could just watch? With him, it's just brown people dying because they aren't fearful of the retaliation or the get back from the rest of their population. There's a reason that fear is the greatest motivator. There's a reason that you remember pain like touching a stove more so than you remember love. So we can ask all these questions. We know the Democrats were not shutting down the government to cause pain. They knew that, like Marion said, there had to be some pain. There had to be some pain, but the Democrats are too big of a tent to have no empathy in their party. But it does make you wonder about, is John Thune of that personality type? Is Susan Collins of that personality type? Is even Rand Paul was like, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to give him this much power. And he's a straight asshole. He's so much of an asshole that his neighbor whooped his ass over a water hose, if I remember. His neighbor stepped across his yard and whooped his ass. So we got to stop. We let them do what's going on right now. And it's clear as day to me is, number one, I believe these conspiracy theorists may say, hey, man, he's not building a ballroom under the East Wing. I don't believe he's building a ballroom. I don't believe he has that much time left to live. I believe they're trying to cement power. That I do believe the bunker's right up under the East Wing. We know that for a fact. Now you got architects coming out going, hey, the numbers don't add up. Look at who the contractors are. These tech bros, this is why you have humanities in class. This is why you have humanities. When Paul became a voice for a future of acts that they had gone too far. Yes, I agree. This is why you have humanity. The tech bros, this is why you don't just have STEM in your education. This is why you don't say STEM is more important. You have to have somebody that has empathy. This is why you don't let people like Alex Craig, who runs Palantir. If you haven't seen his video lately, you need to go pull it up, because these are just guys cosplaying as guys that people like you really are. These are guys who think they're warriors, but would never join the military. But they talk like warriors on these podcasts. We just need to be dominant. Alex, you couldn't be dominant. You would never come to a playground in inner city, and you black. They're cosplaying as dominant masculine dudes. And I don't think half of them are like women. When I say like women, I mean the company of women. That's why they always around each other. That's why Mark Zuckerberg wants to feel like a man. That's why he goes and gets a BJJ purple belt. Because all his life he's felt like a bitch. I couldn't protect myself. But they don't have that right. And we need to get out of this, not wanting to talk about it, not wanting to say it. Because the more we talk about it, the more we're nervous about saying, hey, man, you don't have that right to cause me an existential threat. And no other animal, when they're cornered, would not be coming after them head first. It's 8 billion people on the planet, 3,000 billionaires. All right, old man, you didn't get in last night. You didn't get no sleep. You didn't get no sleep, old man.
Right. I'm awake. I'm listening to you with your monotone voice.
Hey, man, I got accused. Wait. I got accused in my NPU meeting the other day of using my voice to manipulate people and to be a tyrant. And that I was just a dictator. And don't pay attention to him because he uses his voice to manipulate it. That's what I was told the other day on Wednesday. It's like, what? In a public forum. That's what she told everybody. So I'm sensitive.
Friends all over the place, huh?
Look, I'm sensitive about my cracks on my voice, Kenneth.
You making friends all over the place, huh?
Look. So I mean, they did. It's just a big distraction in the grip. He's just a tool, man. I'm telling you. The more you watch him, and I don't know if Stacey agrees with this, the more you watch him publicly, you realize the man is suffering from some type of dementia. They're giving him pieces of paper to read. They aren't even hiding it anymore. They're giving him pieces of paper to read. Now they're going to go with the same old playbook, which is amazing me that more veterans are not talking about this. They're going to start a war with Venezuela to distract from this other shit. Because they're trying to get
oil.
Huh?
To get the Venezuelan oil.
Yeah. For his rich friends who already got enough money, who would never, ever go out and fight for themselves, who run like hell if one of us kicked in their door and said, what the fuck you doing? They not going to come and stand up. So anyway, that's my spiel for today.
Yeah, it's and also too
in large print.
This whole this Epstein stuff that they released the other day, those names, I was like, okay, and there's some names on there too. People who we probably kind of figured were already on there.
Yes.
And the email list.
Yes.
I mean, they made it seem like Bill Clinton, that was a big reveal. They got pictures of him with Bill Clinton.
Yes.
So ain't nothing new about that.
It was an Israeli operation. I believe that. I believe he was an Israeli operation. They had a goal in mind.
Huh? Or he was. You mean to tell me he was working a spy for Israel?
About 3 years ago, I'm sure y'all don't remember because I know sometimes I get in this hole. This trader, stock trader on New York, did a whole thread on Twitter. Right when Epstein and went to jail, he did a whole thread on Twitter, and he kept saying people in the finance business and traders and stock traders. The thing about it is they know who all the players are. He said when you're at a certain level on the floor, you know who the players are. You know who has the money. And he said, and none of the top players on the New York Stock Exchange could tell you where he got his money. That's what the guy kept saying. He said, that's unheard of. None of the players could tell you where did he get his money. Where do you even start? He was a teacher in a private school. So where did he get his money? And he said nobody knew him. Huh?
said he was pimping his students back then.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. Just a whole bunch of them old men that don't want their names to come. A whole bunch of them. A
There
whole
was
bunch
some
of them.
women on that list too. But this
Huh?
was the email list. I said there were some women on the list. Some of the names I saw, a couple of women on the journalists. So I'm
Yeah, but
trying to. So
he ain't going out getting no women no
that
good
email
boy.
stuff. Yeah, I said that email, the list of people who had emails and releasing the emails. That ain't the mother load. That's not
Right.
it.
That ain't the
That's
mother load.
well,
And here's
that right there is a teaser. Because I know his estate, they've been waiting for a chance. I don't know why they wait so long, but they've been waiting for the opportunity to pull out all that information. Because the government didn't confiscate all that stuff. They got some more information.
Okay, so let me ask you about this alternative. You think so? Here's my belief. My belief is somebody copied all the files, and it's they get out of jail free. And Ghislaine Maxwell copied all the files and gave them to multiple people that they haven't tracked down yet, and they're gonna drip, drip, drip. Everybody knows she knows, and she's not the only one. I believe Pam Bondi downloaded files because that's her get out of jail free card. In case that none of those people up there trust one another. Pam Bondi doesn't trust Russ Vought. Russ Vought think women shouldn't even be working.
On the list?
Who? Russ Vought? Russ Vought? Yeah. I don't think so. Russ Vought is a nerd. He's just a bitter nerd. He like that. What was the attorney John Eastman? Now sometimes your childhood trauma comes up and you decide you're gonna take it on everybody else because I can't believe how these people treated me when I was in high school. People have copies of those files.
You want to know what the most person is with a copy of that file?
Who?
James Comey's daughter.
James Comey who?
James Comey's daughter.
Yes,
she was
I believe that. I believe that.
Prosecutor, and I'm kind of curious as to why she had to drop that shit, because as the lead prosecutor in the case for Ghislaine Maxwell, she had access to all the information, and I know prosecutors make copies of files and stuff like that. It won't take if it's all digitized. I know all you got to do is go copy and paste from one for that to a flash drive. That's it.
I believe that.
Yeah, and you know they digitized all that stuff. So there's no, they may have the physical, if there's a physical book, which I'm sure he kept, physical book. But if they got a physical book, they have the physical book and evidence somewhere. Somebody made copies of all that shit. And as you said, it's their get out of jail free card. My thing is, I've always assumed when I found out that James Comey daughter was lead prosecutor, I always assumed she had something. I know I would have. You know
how you could tell what you're saying is true. I'm gonna give you one thing that just happened less than 6 months ago. I can't believe I keep forgetting her name. The young lady that got up and testified from the White House, the pretty girl, the one Republican, and she got up and testified.
From the what's it called? Trial for the January 6th.
What's her name, Stacey? You know her name, Stacey. The young. What's her name? It's not Hope Hicks. What is that girl's name? Cannot remember her name for the life.
I don't know.
It's not.
I don't remember it.
But remember in June. Remember. Go back. They buried the story, but if you pull it up on Google, it will pop right up. Remember in June, she started getting death threats. And her attorney came out and said, if y'all don't back off, I'm going to release every text message from every GOP congressman and representative who has sent her texts with sexual innuendo and sexual suggestions to her. And it went dead silent. Because that was her get out of jail free card. Because you know she was getting death threats when she got up there and testified before Liz Cheney. The brunette, right. Just go back and pull it up. That story went away the minute he put that out. If y'all keep it up, I'm going to release, because she had sent them the text. I'm going to release all the text to her phone.
See, what I have a problem with is these people have access to this information, have us, and they won't release it. They won't put it out there. I know you say if they get a free car. My thing is, why wait until you need it to use that Trump card? Why wait?
This is where me and Kenneth got into our last big argument on this subject right here. Because what I said, I understand where Kenneth's coming from, but I also understand that the American public has not shown that they will protect these whistleblowers the way they're supposed to. And this government has shown that they will out whistleblowers. They will out spies. And if I'm her, I'm wondering how Donna Stacey would feel. If I'm her, you got to show me that you're going to protect me to a certain degree. Yeah, it's the same. It goes right back down to what we talked about 3 years ago, Kenneth. The two ladies from Atlanta. Nobody went up there to protect them when the people were going by their houses, a grandmother and her daughter. Nobody was up there saying, y'all roll y'all ass down this cul-de-sac one more goddamn time. Y'all roll your ass down this cul-de-sac one more damn. Let me see one more white boy roll his ass down this cul-de-sac talking shit at this house one more time. We're going to snatch your ass up out this house. But somebody's going to be made example of. But you're not going to mess with them because all they were doing with their jobs as election workers. Not one of us. The lady said she had to move out of her house and didn't even want to go to the store. So I understand why people are reluctant. Because the American public has not shown, or at least our side, until 2 weeks ago, we didn't even know if we could, but to that election night, we didn't even know if we could even do a sustained voting thing. Cassidy Hutchinson, that's her name. Until 2 weeks ago. And that's what Stacey said a couple of weeks ago when I was the whistleblower, look how they came after me. Until our side is willing to show people that we will defend these people damn near with our lives and y'all not going to fuck with them, people going to always hedge their bets because people always want to feel protected first because they're like, you don't have to deal with the threats. When Fonnie had to move out of her house, I said a long time when she said that the guy showed up at her house, I said a long time ago that guy should have got his ass kicked. It should have been someone who was willing to go to jail. He should have got his ass out.
Detail problem right there. That's their fault. You got a protection detail because
they stopped. Well, it was her detail that got to him, but the point was that you had the balls to show up at her house. The point was that you had the balls to show up at her house.
Yeah, because you saw her security detail. There was some big boys.
I've seen them up close.
Them boys should have took him out and beat him till he was calling for his mom. So, but the thing is this. If I understand what you're saying about protecting them and all that, but holding it in is not protecting you. Because if they do decide to call your bluff, you ain't got nothing in, and we still won't know the information. I mean, and to be quite honest, you can put the stuff out there and disappear. Ain't no way that, they want to find you, they can find you, but they're going to have to go through a whole lot of hoops to find you. We just got, I really and truly don't believe that we need to suffer needlessly when you got this information that could take all of these people out. It's not doing you any good. It's not doing you any good because if they want to do it, that Trump card you got, okay, I got an attorney. If somebody come after me, I'm Trump. My attorney's gonna release this information. Well, shit, you dead.
You keep talking in a regular world. And I wish I could say
Leonard, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just built differently from everybody else. As I get older, I guess I am. I'm starting to realize that I am built differently from everybody else. The greater good outweighs that.
Me and you agree.
I just don't believe that we need to sit back and allow stuff to happen. I mean, I'll give you a perfectly good example about something. And uh, um, there was when I worked for when I was a cop. I'll just say it. When I was in Clark, Atlanta, the chief of police was sexually harassing one of the security guards, and he sexually assaulted her. She called me and told me what happened. I walked her in the Title IX office in the HR. I was like, yo, you gotta do something about this. Because I said, this dude, he can get away with anything. And the greater good outweighed, and she was worried about, okay, what if this blows back on me? I was like, listen, don't worry about that. Let's get rid of this fool. Because he was a sexual predator. And he was messing with a student. He was a sexual predator. And Stacy, you know who I'm talking about too. But the thing is, if I didn't convince her, she didn't know what to do. She was scared. If I hadn't convinced her to do that, he might still be at Clark, Atlanta doing the same shit he was doing when she was there. Sometimes you just gotta say, fuck it, and just do it, man.
Okay.
I understand the self-preservation and all that, but I would tend to believe that you would be protected. And the example you used about the two ladies, the mother and the daughter, and not being not being protected. They didn't come out there. Their situation is different from somebody. They weren't whistleblowers. They were not whistleblowers. They were just two people who they picked out of the crowd and said they did something wrong. They weren't whistleblowers. They didn't have any information out or anything like that they could hold back and use for a rainy day or anything like that. They had none of that. They were victims.
I agree.
So your analogy doesn't fit with what we're talking about because
yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Let me explain how.
It doesn't.
Let me explain how. Wait. You said it. Now let me explain how. Let me explain how using your example. She came forward because she felt protected. She felt protected because you made her feel protected. You, the different one, made her feel protected. She felt she had some protection because you made her feel protected. There's no telling if she would have came forward if she didn't feel like she had a gorilla sitting on her shoulder. She had another male officer who said, "Nah, we're not even about to tolerate this bullshit. And if you're going to tolerate, then I'm going to be the gap in between you and the bullshit." You did that. That's the point. The point of Ruby and her grandmother is this. This is why the analogy works. Rudy Giuliani was trying to send a message that the lowliest of workers will be punished and used, and you potentially have physical harm done to you. That was his point. And the blowback should have been more of you, more people like you telling Rudy Giuliani, we're not going to tolerate that. They are protected. That's my point. My point is more people like you. So when you say some people like Cassidy Hutchinson knows she's protected because she has a lawyer standing in the gap with the text messages. That is her protection. And when you say, well, I'll just do this, why won't people just do the right thing? Because of what Don just said, and I got to get off the call. Like Don just said, they have a 37 count convicted felon sitting at the top who sending message after message that if you go and do my bidding, you will be protected. That's how I see it. But that's the last word for me because I got to get off of here. So go ahead. I'm waiting to hear what you got to say.
No, I was just going to respond to what Stacy said. Yes, he did, Stacy. And we both know what's you know more about the bones than I do. But it was, I just say this. I think you'll be more protected. It's better to your and for everybody's interest if they just go ahead, people who had this information, just go ahead and put it out there. Just go put it out there because we know everybody over the age of 15 knows that Trump was involved with this stuff. That he was messing with underage girls. I mean, the man was talking about his daughter, his own daughter, uh, um, treating her. He was talking about his own daughter and looking at her like he was a sexual predator, like she could be one of his. He is a victim of his whatever you want to call it, pedophilia. That's how he looked at his own daughter. That's how he described his own daughter. So, nobody's shocked that Trump's name is in these files. That he was a client of Jeffrey Epstein. That he was probably being bribed, or not bribed? I guess it's called. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Extorted by Jeffrey Epstein, like he did everybody else. If they came out with all that information tomorrow, I don't think anybody would be surprised that Trump's name would be on the list of people that was being extorted. No way in hell anybody would think that. So just go ahead and release it. Because by the time it happens, when this information is released, by the time it hits the airwaves, it don't make a difference who released it at that point. Cat's out the bag. Ain't nobody coming for you because they all gonna be trying to hide the damn self. The greater good. Let's worry about the greater good. Let's go ahead and step forward for the greater good. Stacey, when you said you did that, you did it because you just couldn't. You didn't want to blow back on you, but two, you knew that at some point that you knew deep in your heart that was the right thing to do. Whether anybody agreed with you or not, you knew that was the right thing to do. Oh, Stacey, hold on. We had technical difficulties, but we said that. That was the issue. Leonard and I have been discussing this over the last few weeks. There's got to be something going on that every time we turn around, there's some issue with StreamYard or whatever platform we're trying to use to do this podcast. I mean, I woke up at 8:30 this morning. We don't come on till 10. At 9:20, my computer was on and ready, and neither one of us could get this thing working.
Hey, Stacey, I appreciate you. You're gonna do what you gotta do. I'm about to get off and let him be on here by himself too. She said, I set my alarm. Yo, Negroes can't be on time. Okay. Take us out, Kenneth. Well, I'm gonna get out. You gonna stay on? I gotta go.
All right. No, I got to go too. Hey, yeah, it's been it's wow. We just all this stuff we got to deal with, but we gonna continue trying to get this done. Trying to come back on here and have some conversations. Y'all got anything happen this week? Let us know because we can't catch everything. But yeah, be safe. Hopefully everybody who listens, who's on the government payroll, hopefully you'll start getting your check soon. And y'all be safe. Take care of each other. See y'all next week. Deuces.
Peace. Y'all the one that was late. But you know what you talk about. You late.
Man, I'm trying.